The Roman Empire, a name that echoes through history, conjures images of power, grandeur, and an insatiable thirst for conquest. At its peak, this mighty empire stretched its dominion across vast swathes of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Its legions, renowned for their discipline and might, marched tirelessly, expanding the empire's borders and bringing new lands under Roman rule. Despite its eventual decline and fall, the Roman Empire left behind a legacy that continues to shape the world we live in today. Long before the arrival of the Romans, the island of Britain was inhabited by a diverse array of Celtic tribes. These tribes, known as Britons, had their own distinct languages, customs and beliefs. They were skilled farmers, artisans and warriors, adept at navigating the island's varied terrain. The arrival of the Romans in the 1st century BC would forever alter the course of British history, ushering in a new era of conquest and cultural exchange. The Roman Empire's gaze first fell upon the distant shores of Britain in 55 BC, when Julius Caesar led 2 expeditions across the English Channel. In 43 AD, under Emperor Claudius, a formidable Roman force landed on British soil, marking the beginning of a sustained campaign to conquer the island. The Roman legions, with their superior weaponry and discipline, gradually overcame the fierce resistance of the native Britons. The Roman conquest marked a turning point in British history, the beginning of a new chapter that would see the island incorporated into the vast and powerful Roman Empire. In 43 AD, nearly a century after Julius Caesar's initial forays into Britain, Emperor Claudius launched a full-scale invasion of the island. The Roman invasion force, led by General Aulus Plautius, landed in southeastern Britain, met with fierce resistance from the native Celtic tribes. Despite the Britons' valiant efforts, the Roman war machine proved relentless, town after town falling to the invaders. The Roman invasion was not simply a military campaign, it was the beginning of a systematic effort to Romanize Britain. The Roman conquest of Britain was a protracted and bloody struggle, marked by fierce resistance from the native Britons. Caratacus of the Catuvalauni tribe emerged as a formidable foe, rallying the Britons to his cause. In a decisive battle at Watling Street, Roman legions finally defeated Caratacus's forces, marking a turning point in the Roman conquest. Despite ongoing resistance, the Romans steadily consolidated their control over Britain, establishing new settlements and extending their administrative reach. With their military might firmly established, the Romans embarked on a grand endeavor to reshape Britain in the image of Rome. Roman engineers constructed a vast network of roads, facilitating the movement of troops, trade goods, and ideas. New towns and cities sprang up. Their grid-like layouts a testament to Roman planning and organization. The Romanization of Britain was a complex process of cultural exchange and adaptation, transforming the landscape and the lives of the native Britons. The rise of Roman towns and cities across Britain marked a significant shift in the lives of the native Britons. These bustling urban centres offered a stark contrast to the rural life that had defined Britain for centuries. Life in Roman towns was a vibrant tapestry of cultures and customs, fostering a unique blend of traditions. Despite challenges, life in Roman towns offered opportunities for advancement and a chance to participate in the prosperity of the Roman world. Beyond the bustling towns, a new type of dwelling emerged, the Roman villa. These substantial estates, owned by wealthy landowners, served as centres of agricultural production and symbols of Romanization. The interiors of Roman villas were often lavishly decorated, showcasing the owner's wealth and taste for Roman luxury. Exposure to Roman agricultural practices and technologies gradually transformed the rural landscape and the way of life in Roman Britain. The arrival of the Romans brought a new pantheon of gods and goddesses. Their images adorned temples and shrines. Romans assimilated native British religions. This blending created a unique religious landscape. Roman deities like Jupiter and Minerva found a place in Britain's hearts. Their worship intertwined with Celtic counterparts. Temples stood as symbols of Roman authority. Roman and Celtic beliefs interwove, creating hybrid deities. These deities reflected cultural exchange. The religious landscape of Roman Britain highlighted the enduring power of faith. The Roman conquest of Britain was a feat of engineering and logistics. Central to Romanization was a network of roads, forts, and urban centers. Roman roads facilitated movement of troops, trade goods, and ideas. Built for durability, these roads sliced through the British landscape. Constructed with layers of stone, gravel, and sand, they withstood heavy traffic. These roads transformed Britain, connecting isolated communities. Their legacy is visible today, forming the basis of modern roads. The fertile lands of Britain, long prized for their agricultural potential, became a breadbasket for the Roman Empire. Under Roman rule, British agriculture underwent a period of significant transformation as new crops, farming techniques, and land management practices were introduced. The Romans, with their emphasis on efficiency and productivity, sought to maximize the agricultural output of their new province. Wheat, a staple crop of the Roman world, flourished in the temperate climate of southern Britain. Vast estates, known as villas, sprang up across the countryside, their owners a mix of Roman citizens and wealthy Britons, adopting Roman agricultural practices to cultivate wheat and other crops on a large scale. These estates supplied grain not only to the growing urban populations of Roman Britain, but also to Roman legions stationed along the empire's northern frontiers. The Romans also introduced new crops to Britain, including grapes for winemaking, cherries, and improved varieties of apples and pears. These agricultural innovations diversified the British diet and contributed to the growth of trade, as surplus produce was exported to other parts of the Roman world. The adoption of Roman agricultural technologies, such as the heavy plough and watermills, further increased productivity, transforming the British countryside. Beyond agriculture, Roman Britain developed a thriving industrial sector. The island's rich deposits of iron ore, lead, and tin were exploited to fuel the Roman war machine and supply the growing demand for metal goods. Mining operations, often on a vast scale, sprang up across Britain, particularly in Wales and the southwest. These mines, worked by a mix of skilled labourers and slaves, produced the raw materials that sustained Roman industry and trade. The Roman conquest of Britain integrated the island into a vast trading network. Roman roads and sea routes connected Britain to bustling markets. This trade brought new goods and ideas, transforming Britain's economy. Luxury goods from the Mediterranean adorned wealthy homes. Spices from the east were highly prized. These goods reflected the Romanization of British elites. Britain exported agricultural surplus and raw materials. British wool was woven into fine textiles in Rome. Lead from Wales was used throughout the empire. British hunting dogs were prized by Roman hunters. This trade enriched Roman Britain's economy. Trade led to specialized industries and new technologies. Pottery kilns produced both utilitarian and decorative wares. Glassmaking introduced luxury glass items to Britain. Roman coins stimulated the British economy. The northern frontier of Roman Britain, a wild and untamed land, presented a constant challenge to Roman authority. Beyond the reach of Roman roads and towns lived the Picts, a confederation of Celtic tribes who fiercely resisted Roman rule. To secure their northern border and protect their hard-won gains, the Romans embarked on one of the most ambitious construction projects in their history, Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian's Wall, named after the Emperor Hadrian, who ordered its construction in 122 AD, was a monumental undertaking. Stretching for 73 miles across the narrow neck of northern England, from Wallsend on the River Tyne in the east to Bowness-on-Solway in the west, the wall stood as a tangible symbol of Roman power and a testament to their engineering prowess. It was built not just as a physical barrier, but also as a statement of intent, a declaration that Roman rule stopped here. The construction of Hadrian's Wall was a massive logistical operation, requiring the labor of thousands of Roman soldiers drawn from legions stationed across Britain. The wall itself was a marvel of Roman engineering. Built primarily of stone, it stood up to 15 feet high and 10 feet wide in places, with a fortified gateway, known as a mile castle, every Roman mile, and 2 turrets for observation and signalling between each mile castle. Hadrian's Wall was more than just a wall, it was a complex defensive system. A deep ditch, known as a vallum, ran along the southern side of the wall, further hindering any potential attackers. A network of forts, housing garrisons of Roman soldiers, were strategically positioned along the wall's length, providing bases from which troops could quickly deploy to repel any incursion. Section 2. The Roman legionary, strength and discipline. The Roman legionary, the backbone of the Roman army, was a figure both feared and respected throughout the ancient world. Highly trained, disciplined, and equipped with superior weaponry and armor, the legionary was the embodiment of Roman military might. Stationed along the frontiers of the empire, from the scorching deserts of North Africa to the windswept hills of Britain, the legionary played a vital role in securing and expanding the Roman Empire. The life of a Roman legionary was one of hardship, discipline, and unwavering loyalty to Rome. Recruited from the ranks of Roman citizens, legionaries underwent a rigorous training regime that transformed them into highly effective fighting machines. They learned swordsmanship, javelin throwing, and hand-to-hand combat, their skills honed through constant drills and exercises. Discipline was paramount, with harsh punishments meted out for any infractions. The legionaries' equipment was a testament to Roman military technology. They wore segmented armor, known as lorica segmentata, made of iron plates that provided superior protection while allowing for flexibility of movement. Their primary weapon was the gladius, a short double-edged sword designed for thrusting rather than slashing, ideal for close-quarters combat. They also carried a javelin or pilum, a fearsome weapon designed to pierce shields and armor. Life on the frontier was harsh, particularly in the unforgiving climate of northern Britain. Legionaries endured long hours of guard duty, often in bitterly cold and wet conditions. They lived in forts, their lives governed by strict routines and the commands of their officers. Yet despite the hardships, serving in the Roman army offered opportunities for advancement, and for many legionaries it was a source of pride and camaraderie. Beyond the imposing presence of Hadrian's Wall lay the territory of the Picts, a confederation of Celtic tribes who fiercely resisted Roman rule. The Romans, with their penchant for order and civilization, viewed these northern tribes as barbarians, their way of life a stark contrast to the Romanized world of southern Britain. Yet despite their cultural differences, the Romans and the Picts were often drawn into a complex relationship of conflict, diplomacy, and even, at times, uneasy coexistence. The Picts, skilled warriors and adept at guerrilla warfare, posed a constant challenge to Roman authority. They frequently raided Roman settlements south of the wall, seeking plunder and testing Roman defenses. The Romans, for their part, launched punitive expeditions into Pict territory, seeking to subdue the tribes and deter future attacks. These raids and counter-raids, often brutal affairs, shaped the lives of those living on both sides of the wall. Despite the frequent clashes, the Romans and the Picts were not always at war. Periods of conflict were often interspersed with periods of relative peace, during which trade and diplomatic relations flourished. Roman goods, particularly metalwork and pottery, found their way into Pict territory, while the Romans sought to maintain stability on their northern frontier through alliances and treaties with Pictish leaders. The relationship between the Romans and the Picts highlights the complexities of Roman frontier policy. While the Romans sought to impose their control over conquered territories, they also recognized the need for pragmatism and accommodation in dealing with those who resisted their rule. The northern frontier of Roman Britain remained a volatile and contested region, a place where Roman power and indigenous resistance clashed and intertwined. As the 4th century AD dawned, the Roman Empire faced internal strife and external pressures. In 383 AD, Magnus Maximus, a Roman general in Britain, stripped the island of its legions to pursue the imperial throne. This left Britain vulnerable, marking a pivotal moment in its history. In 410 AD, Emperor Honorius severed ties with Britain, ending Roman rule and ushering in a new era. Despite the decline of the Roman legions, Rome's legacy in Britain endures. Roman rule left a lasting mark on Britain's landscape, culture, and institutions. Roman roads and towns formed the basis of modern infrastructure. Latin influenced the English language. Roman law shaped English common law. Roman ideas of governance and citizenship influenced British society. The Roman period in Britain was transformative, unifying disparate Celtic tribes into a province integrated into the Roman world. The Romans brought military subjugation, cultural, economic, and technological changes, reshaping Britain's destiny. This era saw a blend of Roman and Celtic influences, creating a unique Romano-British culture. The Roman legacy in Britain is a tapestry of conquest, transformation, and enduring influence.